Okay, welcome to Total Tea's Tea Time with Taylor. I'm your host, Taylor, and I've got my energy tea here. So grab your favorite Total Tea product and join me for a chat. So it's the day before Valentine's Day. Do you like Valentine's Day? I know that some people like it, some people are not about it. I think probably before I was married, I wasn't a fan, so I think Valentine's Day just depends on the season that you're in, whether you like it or not. Nowadays, I like it. My husband usually gets me a single yellow rose, which is my favorite flower, in case anyone was ever wondering. It's my favorite. And then he gets me chocolates, which are usually caramel-filled chocolates. Love my caramel. So that's typically our Valentine's thing. Usually I'll get my husband a card or something. Um, but yeah, I think before I was married, I wasn't as big of a fan. But in elementary, as a little kid, I remember loving Valentine's Day. But it was always so dramatic. Do you remember that? Was it dramatic for you or was it just me? Because it could have just been me. When I think of Valentine's Day in elementary, I think of like the Crush soda pops and the candy rings, maybe like the little stuffed teddy bears. I also think about those cheesy Valentine's cards. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the little square ones that had little quotes on it and pictures. And I don't know about you, but in elementary, we were required to get everybody in our class a Valentine, is what they would call it. We had to get everyone a Valentine, and then we'd have a Valentine's Day party, and then we would give out our Valentines to our classmates. And this is funny. So I remember, I'd get my packet of Valentines, right? And I would sit down and I would get out all the juicy ones, right? Like the ones that were like, I adore you, or be mine, or you're a cutie, right? I would get all of those and I would set those aside in a certain pile. The rest I would scribble to classmates, but I would save the juicy ones for the cute boys in the class, right? And you would just hope that they would catch your passive flirting by your mandatory Valentine that you had to send them, right? But on the flip side of the same coin, you were always, I was anyways, hoping that the boys that you didn't typically care for, you were hoping that they didn't read too far into your Valentine that has hearts on it and talks about Valentine's Day, right? Because it was mandatory. Isn't that kind of ridiculous and a little dramatic? But for me, when it was the Valentine's Day party and we would get all our Valentines, right? After everybody had handed out their Valentines, I would take out the Valentines that the cute boys gave me, right? And I would be really quick to read those first because I wanted to know if there was any hint of a boy just slightly confessing his love for me, right? Did anybody do that? Maybe it's just me. Maybe that's just a look into a typical little girl's mind, or maybe it was just me being weird and dramatic. But what I know now as a mom of two boys, those cute boys, or any boys in general, those boys, they didn't know. They didn't know what was on that Valentine's Day card to me. You know why? Because I guarantee you they told their moms, hey, Mom, our Valentine's Day party is tomorrow, and I need Valentines for everybody. So you know what happened? Their moms ran to Walmart. They got the Valentines. They put the names of the classmates on every Valentine's. They put the little sucker in the pocket. You know what I'm talking about? They put the Valentines in a bag, and then they sent them with their kids, and they said, good enough. And they took them to class. Those boys had no idea what was on those cards, right? But as little girls, we were so intentional about reading those things. We're like, trying not to blush when they're like, I don't know. That's what I imagine. And I think it was super dramatic. But anyways, speaking of elementary and a little girl's mind, do y'all remember your first crush. You know, like your first celebrity on TV crush. I remember mine, and it's a little weird. But my first crush was a lion. It was Kovu from Lion King 2. Anybody else? If anybody else wants to confess that, please do in the comments. Or maybe I'm just weird and I'm on my own. But do you remember your first celebrity crush? Please let us know in the comments. I would love to read them off to everybody. But my crush went from the lion onto something way cooler, right? Shark Boy. Does anyone remember Shark Boy and Lava Girl? Because, oh, my crush was Shark Boy. I still remember the songs he sang in the movie, and I can still quote the whole movie, especially Shark Boy's parts. I love them. Yes, I was a Taylor Lautner fan before being a Taylor Lautner fan was cool. So, and then, you know, when I was in high school and Twilight New Moon came out, it was all over, right? The Taylor Lautner crush. And actually, to make this full circle for Valentine's Day, he's in the movie Valentine's Day, which is one of my favorite movies to watch on Valentine's Day. What's your favorite movie to watch on Valentine's Day? Because this is one of them. It's so lighthearted. It's funny. It makes me laugh. It's one of those movies that I make my husband watch with me, you know, on Valentine's night if we're just staying in, which is usually what happens because we have littles. Another movie that we love to watch is my favorite. Sincerely my favorite. It's Can't Buy Me Love. Has anyone ever seen that movie? I love that movie. And my husband knows it. When I'm having a bad day, he'll pull the movie out. I love the movie Can't Buy Me Love. I think it's so sweet. So that's a tip. If you're looking for Valentine's Day movies, search Can't Buy Me Love. It's fantastic. And so the traditions that my husband and I usually have for Valentine's Day, we'll watch a movie, we'll grab our Total Teas, and we'll make some chocolate-covered strawberries, which are fun, and we'll watch the movie. Valentine's Day is actually really fun for both of us because our birthdays land on either side of Valentine's Day, so it ends up being a pretty romantic week for us. And actually, we've just continued a tradition that we started last year. We go to a marriage conference in Dallas. It's a marriage conference put on by XO Marriage. And we actually just got back. We went to the marriage conference this last weekend, and it was fantastic. So good. I love going to that marriage conference. We just learned more about how to prioritize each other even above kids and work, which is so important, you guys. And one of the biggest takeaways was that cell phones and social media too can actually create a wedge between you and your spouse, mostly because we can just zone out on there instead of spending intentional quality time with our spouse or with our boyfriend or girlfriend or with our fiance. And so something that we are going to be trying to do is that when my husband gets home from work, we put away our phones, and then we don't get them out until after 9 o'clock. So we're putting away our phones for the long evening stretch, which I'm sure is going to be a hard challenge. But that way we can be more intentional with each other, intentional with our kids. And I would definitely encourage you to try it. Just try to put down your phone more often. Set a goal for that so that you can be intentional with your spouse, or just if you're not married, with the people you're around, right? So that we can create those good emotional connections. And I believe our spouses, they deserve the best of our thoughts, the best of our service, the best of our behavior. You know, I say service because in marriage too, it's all about trying to outserve each other. How can you outserve one another and show love to each other, right? But another thing about that is to keep dating your spouse. Keep dating your spouse, whether it's once a week, every other week, once a month. Have that intentional time. You know, keep flirting, keep the romance alive, if you will. Something that we love to do is we love pickup lines. Yeah, cheesy, right? Does anyone else like some good pickup lines? Well, I'm going to share some with you that are some of our favorites. And no judgment here, but here we go, right? Our first one is, if you were a chicken, you would be impeccable. Right? Here's another one, and I love to read and write, so this is one of my favorites. Baby, if you were words on a page, you'd be fine print. And here's one of my husband's favorites. After a random sneeze any time of day, I'd say, God bless you, honey, but it looks like he already has. Okay, so super cheesy, right? But we love the cheesy. It keeps us laughing. It keeps it fun. It keeps things lighthearted, and it keeps us smiling together, which makes us feel connected. So I want to leave you with some Valentine's Day tips for you to make tomorrow special. Whether you like it or you don't, there's some really cool ways to make tomorrow special, no matter what season of life you're in, right? We can enjoy Valentine's Day whatever season. Single, married, dating, whatever. So one of the ideas is to invite a group of your girlfriends to lunch tomorrow. Why not? Just send them a text and say, hey, let's go out for lunch. I remember in college when I was still single, and my roommate and we would go out to lunch at Chick-fil-A, and they used to, I don't know if they anymore, but they had like the heart-shaped platters with chicken nuggets on it, right? And so we'd go out and eat at Chick-fil-A. We'd get some pretty roses or flowers or stuff for each other, but we were dorm roommates, so it was more like decoration for our dorms. And that was a lot of fun. That was just a special time that you could just be intentional with my friends. And it was a way to make the day special. It was a little pick-me-up in the middle of the day, right? Another way, if you have kids, make Valentine's Day cards with your kids for their grandparents. For your parents, and for your spouse's parents. That's a super cute way to have your kids participate in the Valentine's Day theme, but also you're including your parents who like to get those cute little things from those kiddos. They really do. So it's a way to keep everyone involved and help everyone to still feel loved on Valentine's Day. Another way, and you can do this no matter who you are, no matter where you are, send a text to all of your friends tomorrow and let them know how much you love them, how much you care about them, how much you pray for them, how much you support them, or just check in on them. Literally, just tomorrow morning, set a reminder on your phone to send a text to your friends tomorrow morning. Be intentional with that. Be that friend that reaches out and says hi. Do you want to talk? Can we catch up later? Be that friend. Be intentional. So another thing that you can do with your spouse, with your boyfriend, fiance, whatever, is to actually home make your chocolate-covered strawberries. I mentioned that earlier, but if you've never actually done that before, I seriously encourage you to do it. It's a lot of fun, and it's super easy, and you can make it as healthy as you want. If you want to get organic chocolate chips or organic strawberries, you can make it healthy, right? But just try it. It gets messy, but it's really funny. It's something you can do together to create in the kitchen, and then you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor and eat those chocolate-covered strawberries. I love chocolate-covered strawberries. And also, I guess it doesn't have to be strawberries. Make it any kind of fruit. You can get real creative with that. And then snuggle up, grab you some Total Tea, and watch a movie. Hang out or go out to eat, which is a lot of fun too. But lastly, I want you to make sure that you don't miss a gift from us at Total Tea. So, by placing an order of any amount before tomorrow night, you will be getting a gift from us because we love you and we appreciate you. So, don't forget to get a gift from us. Place an order anytime before tomorrow night. Okay? All right, well, you guys, it was so good to hang out with you today. Please leave us a message or a comment, interact with us. We'd love to text you back or message you back and let us know your thoughts on today's tea time. And as always, we look forward to seeing you next time. I'm excited for next month and our topics for next month. So y'all have a happy Valentine's Day. We'll see you later.